and this is, I guess we could call it like a Wings of Liberty 2.0 push. Since this is how Terrans played against Zergs, but they never were carrying the tanks with them. This makes for a really cool push. Normally when Zerg engage a big Terran army, the Marines flee back, and what happens is then the tanks eventually are the ones that are isolated. They get chewed up by Lings or whatever else. But in this case, Terran is able to leapfrog not only the Marines back and spread them back, but the tanks back as well. So this is this whole new burden. Now granted, okay, I was about to say this. Ravagers have the corrosive bile to force the Terran to have extra tasks to juggle, but it's pretty cool to see that this is how Terrans, at least most of them that we've had here at GSL, are approaching this today.
Yeah, and you know, this is really cool to watch this kind of back and forth play. By the way, it does look like it's going to be fungal growth as well as Zergling upgrades here, so maybe Ling Infestor into Ultra a little bit later on is what I'm thinking Hyun might be going for here. But in the meantime, we do have this drop coming up into the main base. I think he lost his Liberator up here to a Spore, by the way.
I think you might be right, and unfortunately, Artosis, I think we're going to have to wait and see if Hyun is even able to get into that phase of the game.
Uh-oh,
no,
GG,
he will not.
yeah.
GG.
All right.
Those pushes are just very good.
Yeah, very sharp attack here by Dream. Hyun just not able to deal with it. Didn't really have a whole lot of units there. Didn't have those rocks down and ready. And
okay, so let's think about the siege tank throughout all of StarCraft, but especially in pushes in StarCraft 2. The really good players who get one siege tank in a position, use the medevacs, drop the Marines on low ground, right?
Yeah.
And push from there. And that way the tank could never fully be engaged. The Marines could theoretically retreat as much as they wanted unless Zerg just had like way too much and would run it over. Well, now with the tank being able to relocate with the medevac, Terran can actually recreate that situation almost anywhere on any map.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's very interesting the way that it's going up to. And a lot of these areas are, like, for instance, we already saw tonight, behind destructible rocks, because you can like abuse, because you know when destructible rocks are going down, because you just don't have a lot of heavy hitting units early to remove them. Early units are more for scouting. They don't do as much heavy damage anyway, so you don't even attack rocks a lot of the time.
I think that's also why they made the heavy rocks as tough as they are, so people really have to commit if they're going to tear them down.
Totally, and we see this very nice move there, and then that, you know, the Marine drop to draw units up, and then stimming up and in to the third base to just kill a bunch of drones. A lot went wrong there for Hyun, a lot went right there for Dream, so well done with that very sharp play and that kind of killer instinct coming out of Dream, especially running up the ramp early with those Hellions.
Yeah, that was cool. Mixing it up, I think it was a good read that Hyun is going to try to go harder macro this time around, and he punished him early on. And even beyond that, that push was pretty sexy.
Yeah. Well, looks like Laralac Crest is going to be next. Will Hyun be able to pull this back into a game number 5? Dream is looking pretty scary.
I hope he can. And that game has now lit it up. Again, tell your friends to tune in and join us. The GSL is back, bitches, with Tasteless and Artosis in a fantastic match. I think it's the closest one we're going to have today. Dream versus Hyun. In the upper right, in the blue, winning that game, making it a 2-1.
SK텔레콤 P1 드림.
And in the upper left, in the red, our Zerg player, he needs to turn this around.
로켓 현.
Quite like it to go to a game number 5 here, regardless of who's going to take it. Haven't had that quite yet today.
Is this is going, are we still exactly on schedule here?
We're at 9:04.
This is just about the same length as a Heart of the Swarm day.
Yeah, it's not too far
So far,
off.
so good. Look at Warp Prism.
Yeah, it didn't even have to go into Warp Prism mode to
that's
make
the new
that
abilities.
Hot
It
6
turns
scan.
it turns into a Hot 6 can.
I think you should be able to warp in units while the Warp Prism is just flying.
Yeah, I've been writing on the battle.net forums, waiting for them to respond and do that. That and my idea of having siege tanks in siege mode able to hit flying units is.
Or that would be pretty good.
That
actually.
I think would make the game a lot better.
Imagine that you try to fly in with your medevacs with the siege tanks, and then the other siege tanks in the below just blow up the medevacs.
Yeah, and that way I can just sit back in my base and make siege tanks and never play the game for real. I just just kind of sit there and.
I would switch to Terran for sure.
Yeah,
that would be so much fun.
And then you and I can just play on infinite money maps all day, and We can have those games where you just sit there and play for 4 hours, and you get up and you actually can, like, cook your microwave dinner and come back, and the game still goes on.
Well, looks like 6 lings on the way. Just some circling speed being researched. Nothing too weird for Hyun. Expansion coming up for Dream.
And the Reaper's scouting around here. Getting a closer look at the available bases. You can see before that we had the third base up there, pretty accessible. And for Zerg in this case in the center left, also a fairly accessible base. Terran, after 4 bases on this map, we've said this before, but on this map it's a little bit tougher to get the 5th base safely. Or actually, excuse me, I should even say the 4th base, due to the positions and the spawns on this map.
That is insanely annoying, by the way.
Yeah,
Look at this.
and I don't think that SCV is going to get over there. If he can stop that SCV, man. Well, this messes up the timings for everything for Terran.
It really does. That is just so annoying to try to deal with. Like, it's fine. It's not like he's going to lose that, but he's lost 2 SCVs and a lot of time here for SCV making. Mules dropping. Look at this. Oh, he's going to lose a 3rd SCV
It's
possibly?
okay to lose these lings if you're doing this.
Yeah.
Oh!
Oh, if it had killed that.
Dream just leaves.
Yeah, he just gets up and leaves the studio. I'm like, hey, I mean,
You're not even done,
you're
man.
up 2-0. Like, why would you do that?
All right, Roach Warren is coming in here now.
Yeah, and he already has Zergling speed finished, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Do you think? Oh, hold up. Reaper coming in now. He needs to do some scouting.
Yeah, he did
A little bit
finish,
drone
okay.
harass. Yeah, he's got link speed done.
Okay, so he's going to be able to at least deny any sort of scouting going on, really. I mean, obviously he sees the Roach Warren there, but nothing else is really going to get in. He's pretty safe, hasn't lost too much. They are on the way. 3rd base up for Hyun, or making at least, almost up.
And he's going to do a Widowmine drop over here inside the main of Dream. Let's see if Dream's actually prepared for this. Excuse me, Hyun's actually prepared for this. Dream's going to come in here right now.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit annoying for sure. No detection there quite yet. He's probably going to have to make a spore right away.
Okay, and actually drops both down there.
Oh.
Whoop.
Oh,
Picks
that's a little
up,
bit
and
annoying.
he's going to go ahead and relocate now.
All right, so a little bit of lost mining time. Get a little tiny bit with that.
I think when you see a drop like this, it's clear Zerg can deal with it, but this functions a bit more like a deterrent for the Terran. It makes it so that it's uncomfortable for the Zerg to actually leave his base.
Yeah.
And this way, Terran can actually tech up pretty comfortably. And it looks also like, just judging from the number of barracks that are being made, we're probably going to have a push similar to what we've already seen. And so this is TVZ Legacy of the Void.
Yeah, it seems like this is very popular
At least
right now.
for now, you might not need to hurry up and get a 3rd base.
Yeah, it might be the case.
You might just want to tech up, or not, or say tech up to just this push. Mass Marines, get the siege tanks, get the medevacs.
The fact that right now Hyun is going for Roach upgrades, yeah, he has Zergling speed, which is nice, but you know, that's going to be a little bit stronger against this type of play, I think. You know, the siege tanks, when you're picking them up and dropping them out, they're killing Zerglings so fast. The Roaches are going to have a little bit more beefiness and a little bit more tankiness so that they don't just blow up. You know, he's going to be able to actually engage against the army a lot more easily, I think.
What do you think is actually the best way for Zerg to take on a push like this? Because I know that, you know, we've talked about Hyun. He loves his roaches. He likes that playstyle. But I feel like specifically against a guy who's going tanks that you can just move to anywhere,
Yeah.
that would seem to me, at least in theory, that you could just beat Zerg doing this.
I actually like what I'm seeing here out of Hyun. Like,
Tell me.
Let's see some Roaches and Ravagers, and maybe some Speedlings mixed in. Like, let the Siege Tank volleys hit the Lings that the Roaches get there. And the thing is, the Roaches will absolutely destroy these smaller Marine armies.
But what would you think if Zerg were to just go Muta Ling Bane against something like this instead?
I think it's, like, definitely doable.
Do you think it's just stylistic, or?
Well, what I think is it gets a little bit scary if the Siege Tanks hit Banelings with their volleys and then run away from the Zerglings. That's, like, why you had to stop going for the Siege Tanks, is because you just eventually force the Marines back and surround those Siege Tanks and they'd be dead. But Here you can just pick them up, so they're like reusable Widow Mine shots on Banelings, and a little bit easier to actually target and whatnot. So, I mean, I'm not exactly sure how it's going to turn out. But
so we got a drop coming in over here. He's doing a good job harassing, and this is only to set up for the attack over in the front. But the Ravagers coming in here. Nice dodge, beautifully done. Is he going to get the second one though? Barely. As you can see, too many roaches. Not a game so much of. Not a game of tactics, but simply math. That is just too strong of an army.
And in fact, he's going to have to get back here. He does have a bunker. He does have a nice little drop, just sending one of those medevacs off to the side towards that third base. It doesn't have a whole lot. And here he goes. He's going to be able to power down that bunker in a matter of seconds, dropping corrosive vials on the siege tank.
Miss micro there, taking more damage. Just even his Marines up here in the front. But keep in mind, because the medevacs are picking up the tanks and moving them back, they're not healing the Marines. That's something we got to watch out for a lot, because
really
that's a whole new burden. Never before were we ever thinking about medevacs not being in position. Normally you just have them hotkeyed with your army. Yeah, exactly.
That's
and
a very good point.
Dream is actually doing so much damage to Hyun.
Yeah,
I'm getting a little bit worried for him.
Was good, but right now there's like not a lot of mining going on over at Hyun's side. He has a pretty healthy drone count still, so it's not like he lost all his drones. He just had to run them away, but that's a lot of time not mining.
Spire almost done, but not a lot of gas banked up here. He can only get 4 mutas if it finished this second.
Wouldn't mind corruptors being mixed in, to be honest, just to deal with medevacs a little bit.
Kind of a funny thing to say, but I guess that's how this game has changed, is you need to get the medevacs in an actual fight, not just getting the drop.
Yeah, you have to actually bully the medevacs themselves. And I mean, Marines will kill Mutalisks in like 2 seconds, but the armor on the corruptors and the fact that they're a lower target priority than Mutas, it seems pretty good, and he's actually making 5 corruptors, so Hyun seems to agree.
Right now, Hyun coming up here. We might have a small engagement in the middle of the map, as their 2 armies are going to meet up. I think it's probably in Terran's best interest to... Okay, never mind. Zerg's going to back up. What'd you say?
Wait for me, guys. Changeling. Even at his combat shields.
Oh, he's going to get the hatchery!
Oh.
Okay.
That hurts. That definitely hurts. But
that is a...
Oh, man.
How do you say
scary.
Huge, small victory? Now, this is what I'm talking about with the power of the Terran push and Legacy of the Void. You can actually just put the tanks in a position that would allow you to engage in a fight you would never be able to do otherwise.
Now look, he needs to land corrosive vials right now on these siege tanks. He is starting to throw some up, but he doesn't have many Ravagers left here. Look at this. He's actually taking out the medevacs very quickly.
Corruptor's doing a great job back there. Hyun's not reclaimed this base over here in the center left, so it's right now 2-base Terran versus 2-base Zerg. Zerg's still ahead in supply, but Terran is throwing some serious punches over here. I do worry that Dream might be overextending a little bit with some of these medevacs. Keep in mind, if he loses all of his medevacs in this process, Zerg will just gather up his army and counterattack.
I think that that's the case. Like, these corruptors have really done their job here. Look at this. He only has 1 siege tank and 2 medevacs now, and that's due to these corruptors chasing things down, staying alive, dealing that incredible amounts of damage to those medevacs. And now it's like, okay, it's both players are barely mining at this point.
Artosis, if I may.
Yes, you may.
Did you notice that the main command center was lifted?
Yes.
Again.
And
we already saw this. It's not a TVT.
Marine King game.
This is not a Marine King game. This is the second time we've seen Terran just mine out on 2 bases and relocate. And it seems to be a really effective way to play.
It does.
Terran is really becoming the antithesis of Terran that we knew all the way through the start of StarCraft 2, up until now, I guess, and all of what was in Brood War and vanilla StarCraft. So we're now seeing more than just a few Terrans really focus on the micro play. And it seems to be working right now. I mean, Hyun's barely on 2 bases right now.
He is. His army definitely better, but it seems like he doesn't feel like he can do any significant damage with an attack right now, or maybe he's just afraid of the counter drops, because as this game goes longer and longer, the more Dream is actually coming back into it, as Roach supply doesn't age well.
It's very true. I think one of the reasons why Hyun can't really do as much as he wants to is Roaches aren't really fast when you compare them to medevacs being boosted.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, those siege tanks are going to be able to get back a bit, but, that's why he needs a lot of corruptors. He's actually been adding a few corruptors in when he can, So I think he is going to go for an attack as +2 finishes up here for Roach.
Artosis in Legacy of the Void, the siege tank is now the fastest unit in the game, okay? Nobody saw that coming.
Whoa.
Yeah, think about that.
Didn't. I think you're actually right?
Yeah, the siege tank is, I mean, for the incredibly powerful, just really mobile unit.
Well, look at that. Another little tiny drop.
Yeah.
I love this. The million paper cuts on both sides here.
Yeah, death by a million paper cuts.
Such a terrible way to go. Just make a paper sword and stab me in the gut, please.
I think it'd be worse to be beaten to death by an empty plastic bottle. I think that might be a little bit worse.
Especially if it's like a 2-liter Pepsi bottle or something.
Yeah, you just slowly over
like
time.
Not a small Powerade bottle. Those are pretty hard bottles. Like that would be a normal death. But.
Mercy, give me the empty Powerade bottle.
Oh!
Well, Corrosive Bile connecting, but actually not too impactful in that fight. Didn't get enough Marines. I think that actually Dream is dismantled. Yeah, this is it, I think.
The drops are all over.
There's just too many drones being hit in too many places.
This is where Dream should go back and build bunkers right now. He's continuing to push out. I don't like this at all. I think he should go back in a defensive position because right now all Hyun can do is kill him. His economy's been shattered once again. Look at this. He's forcing in.
But I think with this arc, right?
I don't know. If the Corrosive Biles hit well, and the
I guess Corrosive Bile pretty well. Never mind. With the rest of these roaches coming in here, yeah. Look at that. You were totally right, Artosis. Good call.
The game, not necessarily over, but Dream has almost no units. Like, when you hurt someone's economy that badly, just go back and defend. But now he can't hold on against this army. What's his army? What's his army? Those Marines?
Maybe if he puts those 8 Marines behind the depots. What do you think about that?
I think you'd have a better shot, maybe.
Yeah, maybe he'll hold on.
I think that's a good point.
Maybe with really good micro, he can do something. All right, well,
maybe if he tries hard enough and his fans root hard enough for him.
Yeah, maybe if his fans cheer hard enough for him, and he just goes, in his booth, he goes, and just really ups his APM, he could win. But otherwise, I'm not sure.
No, it looks like everything's going to be cleaned out here. You know, the Corruptor's even going to make sure that the floating buildings get picked off. And, like, you know, this really comes down to what I was saying there, where once you do enough damage, you have to be able to look at it and be like, enough is enough. Because the Roach army is still very powerful, but not against a good defensive setup.
I think what you're totally right. What he had to do was do that damage, keep dropping, since it's clearly a game Hyun can't catch up with, and just max out as Terran. Just max out. Roaches,
totally.
They don't age well into the game.
No, they don't. They
have a lot more viability early on.
You're both at 200 supply and one of them has a bunch of roaches, you're going to win. Like,
and we are now watching Dream go full-on Marine King here as his buildings are burning around the map.
We want to get in.
He'll never find me here. Remember when StarCraft was like that, guys, when you first played your first time, when you're like, I'll float a base over here, and he won't even know there's a base here, and I'll just...
Yeah, it did work.
And 3 hours later, when our game is done, because they're both bad and we can't kill each other.
Oh, look at this. He's actually made a planetary, which is pretty smart. But look, Corrosive Bile's going down on these SCVs. Some nice targeting there, trying to take out the Ravager, the more expensive of the units. Oh, Widowmine trying to pop out. Does get picked off, though. And look at this. He's losing a lot of roaches here. A lot. Well, that's a lot more roaches coming. Yeah, no, that's going to be enough.
This is how every SCV in the game actually dies right here in this Terran. GG.
GG indeed.
Okay. We tied it up. It's time for our final game.
All right. Well, well done by Hyun, but the thing is, he won because Dream didn't realize that he had already done critical damage and thus was out of position with his army. And the thing is, even if he's back in position completely turtled up, does he end up holding? I think he does. I think with siege tanks moving back, Stim Marines in an arc on top of a ramp, running behind depots and stuff, I think that Roaches with their crappy little 4 range are not going to break that. So a little bit of a mistake there by Rain.
A Turtling Terran can attempt...
Dream.
Yes, a Turtling Terran can attempt to hold off pretty effectively an army like that. And I think what you said back in that game, Artosis, was pretty smart. He should have just pushed in and then gone back and played it safe for light on his drops, because Hyun wasn't going to close that game out unless Dream gave him an opportunity. And Dream was there in the middle of the map. He wanted to engage with his Marine and Siege Tank Medivac army. Now, in Hyun's defense, though, in Dream's defense, it's hard to tell how many roaches your opponent has.
Sure.
In a moment like that, because you're forcing your opponent to split his army up all over the map.
It is true. I mean,
it occasionally you can think, man, I'm wrecking this guy. Okay, let's close this out. I want to go home.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, you know, 100 roaches come out and run you over, and you think, oh, my
suddenly
bad.
100 roaches.
Suddenly
I like
100 roaches.
Welcome to GSL.
We are now going into our final match. It has been a wonderful day for me to be back here and be with you, Tosis. Let's go into our final game of Dream versus Young. In the upper left, in the blue, our Terran player.
SK텔레콤 T1 드림.
And his opponent down here in the bottom left in the red. He is
로켓 현.
Hyun realizing he's got another chance here. Probably felt dead a couple times that game, but held on, kept his macro up.
kind of a weird game. He's had a couple weird games that he's won.
Yeah. Well, I think that this kind of boils down to the experience portion that we were talking about before. The guy is really experienced. He knows to stay in the game and continue to do his best because I tell you, more than any other game, there's a lot of mistakes made in StarCraft.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. It's not always so cut and dry. Even when you have the best of the best, they will make a blunder, and that's what we saw with Dream back there. He did push out. It was really at a supply number that Terran probably should never push out at for a game that's gone on for that long.
Especially not against that type of army.
I mean, there's some general rules with Terran, and one of them is if you're really that late into the game, you know, do your harass, do it the whole game, but don't push out unless you are 100% sure, and you really almost are never 100% sure. You know, if you just keep it safe, okay? Because at least you know with a maxed out army, he's going to have something even or comparable to what you've got.
And especially when it's roaches, this is just a general rule.
Yeah.
Always, if you're playing against roaches, max out and then kill them. If you do anything other than that, you're taking a huge risk because roaches are very powerful before maxing out because you get so many of them so quickly.
Efficient. They're cheap, down and dirty units. They can get in there. They can soak up a lot of damage. Are they that nimble? Not really. Do they have a lot of range? No, but they're beefy units.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, the main part of this is the fact that they don't have a lot of range. So when you get up to that max supply, roaches aren't shooting. Like the damage that comes out of 40 roaches and 60 roaches is like the same.
They're moving up and down in the back of the fight like a school of fish.
No, exactly. Like they just stop getting better as you near a max, right? It's just like there's more. So once the front line is dead, there's another line, and once that line is dead, it's like they're all fighting with swords, and you can make an army that has a lot of archers in the back. It's
well said. You know, for instance, an army that is incredible maxed out, Marine Marauder.
Yeah,
because you pretty much
you can get them all shooting pretty much.
First of all, you stem, so they organize themselves during the fight in some kind of an arc.
Yeah,
that's going to be nice, but they have enough range that everything's fighting in it.
And they're a hell of a lot skinnier too.
Yeah,
roaches are fat.
Yeah, they're pretty clunky units.
I mean, Hyun's roaches were so fat when they sat around the house, they sat around the house.
Yeah, man. Hyun's roaches so fat they have their own zip code.
Wow.
Yeah. Roach Warren coming here. Speaking of roaches. And we're going to have another poke in here.
Not really a whole lot being done at the moment. Well, it looks like, Dream just mining, getting that Cloak Banshee. It is close by air spot, so definitely a composition that can be quite useful. Roach Warren about to finish up.
And we're just going to have to wait a little bit.
Yeah.
Zerg, it looks like he should have the defense to hold off any aggression. This is a map. They're basically pretty easy for Zerg to hold here with the two queens up there. But we have seen before where Dream had actually tried to rush in with this. And he's trying to get the Reaper in the front to take the damage because when he runs away, maybe the Reaper can regen it later on.
Indeed. Just get as much damage as possible. The amount that he's focusing on these queens almost gives away that he's going Banshee. In a certain way. Like, if you're really super focusing on those, you know that your Banshee might have to end up killing them off and to get rid of some of that health.
Be careful.
Some nice transfusion going down there.
Oh, 14 HP.
Ooh, a little bit sloppy there by Dream. Just got to make sure he doesn't lose something. Like, if you lose your first Banshee when you're going Cloak, that hurts.
Yeah, it's it's a problem, but also even with it being that low, he can't do any more harass like this. Normally the Banshee comes in there and, you know, obviously he deals damage so quickly.
The thing is, this Banshee is likely to have value for a big chunk of the game just because Hyun is a guy that likes to go roaches. So
that's true.
It's okay to bring it back and repair it. You're not necessarily expecting Mutas to just pop out and make this an irrelevant unit.
All right, Hellion's coming up. Roaches here to respond. A few more drones transferred over there. Worker count fairly even, 49 to 45.
Oh, and look at this. He's going for that same type of build that he went for on Orbital. Should be seeing some melee attack coming up with this, I would think.
Do you think we're actually going to have a possible timing attack here from Hyun when Terran takes the third base?
I don't think so. Not with this type of tech. If he was going for roaches, that is exactly what we'd want to see out of Hyun, is just a big attack to force at minimum a big lift off. But in this situation,
oh, this could be a good one. So far, 7 drones killed off.
Hey, that's pretty darn good, considering these don't have a lot of value right now.
He's going to rotate over here to the expansion, see if he can get any more kills.
Oh, no. Hyun, 10 drones.
I got to say,
12 drones. Extractor, 2. No. But, yeah, if he was going for a roach-based composition, you definitely want to see a big attack on that third base. But I think as is, Hyun is going for a much later macro game. I think probably it'll be like a Ling Infester into Ultralisk type of play, and that's going to really make him, like, it's almost like making a death ball. Like, you have to sit back and be defensive, maybe a little bit of harassment here and there, but you want to crush attacks, crush attacks, crush attacks, and eventually you have so many Ultras that the Terran thinks the game is imbalanced.
Okay, so the tank harass has started. Remember, whenever you're facing off against a guy who's going roaches, this is really where you can exploit medevac harass. Roaches, they're, like I said, they're not that fast. They're not...
Ooh. The double Banshee as well. This is really annoying. Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh, that is
get the gas here.
He's just elevatoring up right now.
Yeah, he's doing an elevator push. Look at this.
And that's 8 drones dead. This is starting to really count up how many drones have been lost for Hyun this game.
Seems like there was a chance that Hyun was apprehensive about actually going into his main, kind of in denial that this might be a full-on push. Oh, nice job. Barely dodging that. He's going to have to relocate over here. Misclick there.
Oh, and you know what? He does get a nice fungal down that allows him to kill off that siege tank, so that's definitely a big deal. There's only one factory making siege tanks, so to pick that off does take some of the wind out of the sails here of Dream.
Kind of an interesting thought, but you know, we've talked about in a lot of games when you lose the siege tanks, that's a moment when you know that Terran has essentially been reset.
Yeah.
You know, TVZ, TVT. Now with the option for Terran to harass with siege tanks, it can operate as a double-edged sword. Yeah. Most of the time, siege tanks are just all positioned neatly and safely.
Yeah.
And you won't lose them unless you do some kind of a push. But now with the ability to drop and come in, it's going to be, you know, it's a cool advantage that Terran has and a good opportunity to do more damage. But at the same time, if Zerg plays really well and defends that, then Terran is almost feeding his tanks into his opponent's base.
I see. So the reset may happen more often, but I actually look at the medevac, the way that option works, as like a save state, where it's like, oh, did I lose? That's okay. I saved right before I started at this boss. No problem. You pick up the siege tank and you go home and you start again.
I like that. He's getting the queen now. Look at this. Beautiful. Gunning down all these drones. Hyun's not moving them in time.
8 more drones down. Another drop goes off here at the third base. He's not moving his drones. Hyun, where are you? 12 drones. 37 drones killed this game. 3 base versus 3 base.
Out in a Hearthstone game right now. We're not seeing him move anything.
I hope he's winning. Must be a big patron turn.
Yeah. Okay. Supplies right now. Terran way up. I think in a little bit here we're going to see flying tank, walking marine push.
Flying tank, walking marine. It's like a
as they say. Yeah.
All All right, well, 2-2 on the way for these Lings. Hive on the way as well. He has a good amount of Ravagers, and he has a good amount of Infestors. And this composition can be very scary. You hit a good fungal growth and drop a couple Corrosive Vials, everything is dead. So that's definitely something that goes for Hyun, but right now, Terran looks scarier.
Remember, Terran doesn't have to push until he's maxed out. What Hyun wants is for Terran to get a little bit greedy and attack out. Dream just has to keep hitting these key locations, keep slowing down his opponent. Again, the fundamental disadvantage about a mass ground army like this is it can't be everywhere at once. And so you're seeing the quicker units, the Lings get there in time, but not after Terran has done enough damage with the structures, killed a lot of drones. So.
Now, I do want to point something out because I'm sure a lot of fans right now are sitting at home looking at this and saying, Dream's got him, guys. This is pretty much over. And it kind of looks like that, but this style of Zerg that we're watching plays a little bit differently. He has Adrenal Glands on the way. He has Ultra's Cavern on the way. He is actually the one building the Death Ball. He doesn't actually necessarily have to be out expanding the Terran because he will be way more cost efficient with Ravager, Fungal, Adrenal, and Ultralist.
This is sort of like when you see Protoss teching up to a mothership. You see Protoss can't leave, and then eventually they get that mothership, and everything's cloaked in Wings of Liberty, and they push out, and it's such a game changer. It's a little bit like that here with Hyun, where if he gets to that tech, his army will be so incredibly difficult to harass.
Yeah, it's
to engage. Excuse me.
Like you literally won't be able to kill Hyun's army is what's going to happen with what he's going for. A lot of damage is being dealt, though, all over the place. So this is not necessarily a bad way for Dream to go about this.
Well, the funny thing about the way this game is looking is Terran is actually expanding more than Zerg is, by the way. Terran is almost acting like a Zerg, just harassing. If you can imagine the Marines and Marauders like Mutas and a couple Banelings going into stray expansions. Yeah. It's a total role reversal so far in this matchup. It's actually Zerg defending, trying to turtle, using their powerful but clunky units to hold this.
Just drops everywhere right now. Hyun just trying to clean up anything he can. He's just trying to stabilize. He's making the Ultras. He has 3-3 on the way. Chitinous Plating and Adrenal almost done. In fact, Adrenal just completes. So Zerglings are hella scary at the moment.
Now, for the first time ever, Artosis, I can say this. Looks like his tanks are all in siege mode in his base. The push might begin right now.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what? This may sound crazy, but I think Hyun's in an okay spot in a lot of ways.
We'll see.
His upgrades are going to finish before this attack, maybe? No, 3-3 might not be done.
I think Terran has to push right now, man.
Yeah. Well, no, that's what I'm saying is Hyun, like, he might be okay here. If he hits some good fungals with his Ultras coming up, how many does he have right now? I need to know how many Ultras.
Yeah, we don't have our preview PC, guys. We got here today, first day casting here together, and we actually just have a feed you guys have over here, and then just what the observer sees. So we're not able to do to check up on any information that we'd want directly.
He needs Lings in here to tank some of those tank shots as he runs in. Well, I mean, picking off a medevac is not bad. Looks like this hatchery could end up dying.
Okay, here's the problem: is he can nice fungal. That's what you want to do.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff.
But then he's
using a lot of fungals though here. He's using a lot of them on these small bits of army. So this is making me a little bit nervous. This is a really good push by Dream. He's poking in and microing back and making fungals get wasted, and that's exactly what he needs to do. Another fungal does go down. Not a lot of units left here for Hyun. Doesn't have the Lings to go along either. He's had to replace so many drones.
He's actually not been making Zerglings. I know that there's 24 being made now, but this entire time he wasn't making any.
Yeah.
And that means these Ultras are going to go down. Look at the micro.
You know what? That's it. That's it. Dream's going to take it. The amount of drones he killed forced all the larvae, all the extra minerals to go back into drones, which prevented him from having Lings. If he has a bunch of Lings with that army, he absolutely can hold this and kill that Terran army. But really, really well played by Dream. Like, super well played. Great grasp all game. Followed up by a well-timed, well-executed push.
Well, he's slowly
and then 4 Ultras kill
And then
everything.
4 Ultras go all the way across the map and destroy his production facilities.
Jeez. I guess he did get that 4th base up.
I guess we really do have to get used to these new unit comps and how they engage each other when we cast it. This is such a different game.
Well, look at
the
this.
way it looks. Oh!
Yeah, this is a type of place you can't attack into.
This
with
is the Artosis wet dream right here. The
Yeah.
building placement is just so good. The
Look at
turtling
that.
is unreal.
It's like a shrubbery maze, but with barracks. and those ultras are never going to find the cheese.
They're never going to find you. Those ultras got to bring a ball of string with them going into that barracks maze.
Yeah.
Never going to get out. So, the attack eventually recommences.
Seriously well done by Dream this game. Very, very impressive play. Like, and the thing is, Hyun, the style he's using here is not even bad, guys. Like,
GG.
I actually quite like that style of Zerg vs. Terran right now, and I think he did, like, almost a good enough job. Like, he just needed to prevent a little bit more drone harassment. It just got so out of control there.
Wow. Great series, as we expected. It is going to be the best series that we have today.
Sick,
and
not caring Dream.
I am going to GTFO and let Sojung take over. Goodbye, Artosis. Yep.
And looks like Sojung going to be joining me. And going to see what Dream has to say about that match.
Hello, guys. Again, I was wondering what GTFO was, but yeah.
Get the fruit on. Get the fruit on, Tasteless.
I didn't know. Anyways, yes, we are getting into that interview with Dream. He's now seated next to the caster.
Yep. And Hyun, you see, kind of choking down that long stuff.
이 뭔가 좀 청량감을 좀 느끼고자 하는 거예요. 쭉 들이키세요. 예, 맛있게
Gulping
드세요.
on that hot steak.
괜찮아요, 괜찮아요. 예, 괜찮습니다. 예, 드디어
After a long
코드에서
TD
입성을
game.
했죠. 이 코드에서는 원하는 승리를 따내기가 정말 힘들다는 거 지금
It's
뼈저리게
really
느끼지
hard
않습니까?
to get the win that you want
오랜만에
in Kodes, especially if this is only Kode. But you see, it's going to be really difficult in
그때는 안
Kodes.
됐지만 의료 선행. 그래 2교대, 3교대 쉬지도 않고.
Those
마치
medevacs,
조준호
they
선수의
just
마음이
won't
담긴
stop
의료선.
coming. They
난
just
올라가야
won't
돼. 그
rest.
정말 마음.
네.
그게 느껴졌어요.
4경기 때
Well, for the fourth
불리한 거
set,
역전하나 싶더니만
I thought I was gonna,
나가서
I was be
싸움
able to win that
지니까
game, but when I went out, I just lost. So to play safely, I just played with the medevacs mostly.
오늘 경기를 통해서 코드에서 입성을 했는데
Well, now he has made it to Kodes.
한 말씀 먼저 들어보도록 하겠습니다.
Let's see how he
어떠세요?
feels.
우선 힘들지만 올라가서 너무
Well,
좋고
it was a hard game, but I feel really happy.
올라간 것 같아요.
And I think I was able to advance because I didn't go against the Protoss. It was lucky for me.
프로토스를 상대로는 뭔가 좀 아직까지는 좀 두려움이 좀 남아 있습니까?
He's asking if there's any fear left for the Protoss.
아 그래요?
You know, you just can't win against Protoss if you're a Terran. You just can't.
의료선이 있는데
That's from Dream.
사신 있는데 지뢰 던지는 사신
Even the Murderers, medevacs,
토스는 못
안
이기는.
돼요?
you just can't win against Protoss.
저랑 해도
박시정은요?
저한테 지는 밸런스.
He's asking, JIP is asking. He says no, I can win against you. Even if you're a Protoss.
별마에선 좀 어렵다.
한 50등 이상부터는 거의 못 이기더라고요.
Well, from the fifth place and up
예, 아닌가요?
on the rankings for the Grandmaster, I think,
예, 제가
can't
잘못
win.
알았네요.
그럼 개인적으로 생각했을 땐 이번 시즌의 우승인 프로토스가 차지할 확률이
He's Kisato is asking if Protoss will be able to win.
전까지 패치 안 되면
If there's no patch made, I'm pretty sure Protoss will be able to win this season.
자, 하지만 이번 코드 A는 상당히 좀 밸런스가 잘 맞았거든요. 예, 저 이게 또 이제
Ask about the balance.
변수가 생길 가능성 거의 없다 생각하세요? 프로토스를 상대로 테란이 선전하는
You know,
그 변수,
I
선수
don't
연구를
know
한다면.
if Terrans will be able to do against Protoss.
이기려고 연구는 되게 많이 하고 있고요.
Well, we are researching a lot. We're trying to study against Protoss.
성욱이 형이랑 하잖아요.
I think Maru is going against Zest, right?
주의 깊게
I think we will be watching out for that match. That's what Dream said.
이제 1세트에 좀 아쉽게 좀 경기가
Should be
나오고
a good
난
one.
이후엔
Highlight of the
의료선을
code
많이
A.
쓰는 모습을 보였는데 특히 이제 좀 레리랑 마루에서도 비록 경기에는 좀 아쉽게 결과가 나오긴 했지만 저희가 봤을 때는 약간 앞마당 쥐어짜면서 타이밍 공격을 하려고 했던
He's
것처럼
asking about the timing
그냥
build,
계속 돌아다녔단 말이에요.
but only
특별히
medevacs
그렇게
came out.
의료선 중심의 플레이를 하게 된
And
이유가
he's
있었나요?
asking why he focused on the medevacs.
4경기는 초반에 링 6개인가 온 거에
Well, I think for the fourth set, I thought I started off bad with the 6 links perhaps. So that's why I went safely. And for the fifth set, I just wanted to play safely because it's the fifth set.
네. 특별히 오늘은 좀 의료선 견제가 잘 먹히는 느낌이 들었었나요? 평소 연습했을 때
Asking if it worked out well for him with the medevacs.
오늘은 평소대로 된 것 같고.
I think it worked out as well as I did during
원래
practice
뮤타를 안
sessions.
뽑으면은 의료선을 못 막거든요.
You know, you can't block, you can't defend against medevacs if there's no
지금
mutalisks.
계속 떨어지면서 연쇄 탈락이라는 이야기까지 나왔는데 그걸 오늘 조중훈 선수가 끊어냈어요.
But Dream
그리고 지난
made
시즌
it.
코드에서 김영희 선수가 떨어졌죠. 예, 그래서 상당히 좀
Did he
아쉬움이
fail to
많은데
advance
이번
against
시즌
Hack
코드에서
last season?
올라가서
I think he
어떤
I believe so,
펼쳐질지
Yeah, they
조정
mentioned
선수 각오
Hack.
말씀
Yeah, because it was Dream versus Hack,
Yeah, right.
which was
일단
just
코드 S
the pun potential.
무조건
Oh,
열심히 해서 우승을
Well,
목표로 할 거고
my goal is to win this
저희 팀
season, of
선수들이
course,
많이
and
떨어졌다고 걱정하실
I know
필요
everyone's
없고
worried that
어차피
SK Telecom
프로리그
T1
우승은
players
저희
have
팀이 하는
been dropped
거고.
out of the season.
그리고 마지막으로
But lastly,
블리자드 밸런스 팀에서 좀
I want to talk to Blizzard Balance Team, guys.
진짜 힘들어요.
It's really, really hard for us, guys.
진짜 너무
It's
스트레스
really, really
받아서
hard for us. I'm in
좀 어떻게
deep
해줬으면
stress.
좋겠어요.
그렇군요.
You guys better do
분명
something.
오늘
You
방송
should do
지켜보고
something.
있을 거예요.
100%죠. 저 근데 진짜 궁금한 게
JYP
경기적인
wants to ask.
내용인데 5경기에서는 울트라가 나왔는데 상황 유리하긴 했어도
Asking about the ultra
유리하면
lists.
해방선이랑 무경 가고 자원 나오면 병영 안 늘리고 행성 요새 가잖아요. 근데 공성전차 유지에 마지막에 13병영을 늘려줬는데
He's asking why he added more barracks.
생각한 해법인지.
13배럭은 세레머니 80%.
That was more of a ceremony, 80% ceremony.
해방선보다 저는 물량률
I don't really prefer going with a lot of liberators, so
뿌듯했겠네요. 아, 나의 세레머니를 봐줬구나 상대가.
내 8알의 세레머니를.
네.
가다가 실패하고 돌아갔어요. 또 못하고.
yeah, he wasn't able to pull that ceremony off completely. But this was streamed from SK Telecom T1.
그리고 끝으로 오늘 많은 분들 또 조종혁 선수의 경기를
And a lot of fans are here at Freaka Studio. Let's see what he's got to say for his
되게
fans.
오랜만에 뵙는 것 같고.
It's been a long time since I've met fans offline like this. There were no competitions or leagues.
시즌이 다 시작하는
But
단계이기
now
때문에
it's the
좋은
new
경기
start
많이
of a new season,
보여드릴 테니까
and I will
많은
be
응원 부탁드리고.
trying my best to show you guys the best games.
밸런스 팀에서
And
또
again, to Blizzard, guys at Blizzard,
사신 너프하고 사도 너프하고
you can nerf anything, you know.
그러면은 이제 사신과
Liberators, Marauders.
끝으로 말씀해 주셨습니다.
But anyways, this was SK Telecom T1 Dream, and I will be back for next GSL.
thank you so much, Sojung. Great
22번
translation part interview, as always.
역시 조준혁.
Just fantastic to have the interviews properly translated here.
I miss you so much,
Oh, God,
Artosis.
tasteless. Every moment without you is like dying 1,000 deaths.
It was hard, man.
Oh. It looks like Dream draws a winner there.
Who is that translator you were talking to? What's going on,
Sojung.
Artosis?
Sojung, translator.
I just want you to know I'm a little bit jealous. I see her sitting in my chair.
I'm going to cast a game with her next time.
No!
Yeah. Here we have it, guys.
The results.
3 Terrans advance. That is one in every match.
It's going to be just like our first season of GSL back in Wings of Liberty.
Yeah. And
When
then
it was
Hero
Gold
will win
TVT.
GSL anyways.
Yeah.
According to Dream, at least. But yeah, this was day 1 of the round of 60. We have a lot of Code A coming for you guys. I hope that you enjoyed tonight. Spread the word that Code A is back, GSL is back with AfreecaTV. And we have nothing but great matches. These are the ones that I will miss next week. You'll be casting with Wolf and
That's right.
Brendan, I guess.
It's your turn to go on vacation.
Yep.
And I hope you have a lovely vacation, Artosis.
Indeed, I will.
I'll
I
be sure to
promise you
save
that.
esports for that week.
Yeah. And yeah, this is going to be pretty fun. Don't let that DRG Ling trick you. That is not DRG. That is DRG
That's in
Ling.
fact Durgleen.
Durgling.
Okay.
But yeah, it's some good matches coming up, no doubt. Gumyo vs. Dark, definitely one of my favorite matches overall in Code A. I think that's a fantastic one. So is Bomber vs. Seed. A couple old school, really clever players going at it in the new game. Should be awesome.
And as excited as it is to have some of these guys who were great, especially at the end of Heart of the Swarm, we're already seeing that might not matter at all in Legacy of the Void.
Yeah, maybe not. We'll have to see how everyone stacks up after, a couple more months. It takes a while to really get into it and really figure out what is the balance, what are the strategies.
And again, guys, if maybe you're one of these players that only watched and wouldn't play. I mean, StarCraft Legacy of the Void is such a different game now.
It's so fun, and yeah, you really should try it again.
Give it a try.
With a friend.
Copy the
Archon
build.
mode, seriously.
Not everybody, online is savvy enough to watch GSL. There's a lot of guys that just grind. Maybe you can throw them off. Some cool builds.
And when you do, and they're like, where'd you get that build? Be like, the GSL, tune in. It's the greatest show that has ever existed.
And then they're going to be like, okay, thanks. Where do I find it? It's going to have victory screen, and it's too late. You'll never talk to him again.
That's
Just
it.
ignore him, yeah. Then they'll have to ask the next person.
Yeah.
I guess that does it. Good to be back here with you, Artosis.
As well, Tasis. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was, for sure.
Hope you guys really enjoyed tonight. I certainly did. And, yeah, make sure you tune in next week.
Let's both frown and nod our heads. Ready? Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty good. We will catch you guys later. He will be on a much-needed vacation. We love you guys so much. Take care. We'll see you next time. Good night.